This may catch you off guard, but your next year has already started. Long before the calendar shifts, long before core crowds count down to midnight, a man's future begins in the silent choices he makes when no one is paying attention. And if you listen carefully, you may already feel that your own moment of change arrived sooner than you expected. Deep down, you already understand this. Nothing transforms by accident. You have spent too many years believing the next one would somehow become different, only to realize that hope without direction is simply a wish pretending to be effort. But something inside you is moving now, something unwilling to relive another wasted season. Think back to the year behind you, the promises you whispered to yourself, the ambitions that stayed trapped on paper, the mornings when your resolve felt unstoppable and the evenings when routine suffocated it. If that pattern continues, the next year will not transform. It will simply repeat itself at a greater cost. But imagine yourself, 12 months from now, standing inside a life rebuilt through your own determination. Imagine looking back at this exact instant, realizing it was here, right here, where you drew the boundary and claimed control over your circumstances. That possibility stands directly in front of you. Most men wait for January before giving themselves permission to begin. They wait for the date, the feeling, the motivation. They wait because they think change follows a schedule. But change answers to decision, not to the turning of a calendar page. A man rises the instant he commands himself to rise. The next year starts today, because today is the only moment in which your mind can be rewritten. Desire you carry, every fear you hold, every plan you make, all of them depend upon one decision. Will you drift into the next year exactly as you drifted through the last, or will you demand more from yourself beginning now? Picture your future family observing the man you become. Picture your rivals trying to understand how you advance so far so quickly. Picture the version of yourself who no longer bargains with doubt. These images are not fantasies. They are glimpses of what becomes possible when decision replaces delay. And now consider the opposite. If you ignore this moment, the next year will be constructed from the same materials as the last. Hesitation, uncertainty, unfinished intentions. The cost of repeating one year is far greater than the cost of transforming it. A man who delays his rise delays his entire existence. There is a reason these words found you. A reason you feel drawn towards something greater, a reason you sense that time is no longer neutral. It is either carrying you forward or dragging you backward. The next year will not wait for you. It will either follow your command or pull you along while you drift. Listen carefully now, because this is the beginning, not of a speech, not of a season, but of a new identity. The next year does not begin on the first day of the month. It begins the moment you decide who you will become. And for you, that moment can be today, if you allow it. Let us begin. A new year does not begin when a calendar page changes. It begins when a man transforms the condition of his own mind. Time itself has no authority until thought gives it meaning, and the man who waits for dates. Life moves through what I call inner seasons, invisible to the eyes but deeply felt by the spirit. And a man's external world changes only after his internal world has shifted first. Every harvest begins as an unseen seed long before the field reveals the first signs of growth. There is a profound difference between time passing and a man advancing. One happens automatically, the other requires intention, and many men grow here without becoming stronger because they allowed the day without directing their minds. Your previous years repeated themselves, not because life worked against you, but because your inner conditions stayed the same, and the world simply reflected back the image you carried of yourself. Repeating it like a mirror, showing the same figure again and again. There is a spiritual law that tomorrow obeys the decision made today, and the man who decides firmly today sets forces into motion that shape every day ahead, while the man who delays his decision causes tomorrow to repeat yesterday's confusion. To create a new year, you must study the previous one with honesty rather than criticism. Criticism weakens the spirit while honesty strengthens it. Through honest reflection, you will begin to notice the hidden patterns that quietly directed your behavior and produced outcomes you no longer wish to repeat. The habits shaping your past years were not the dramatic moments you remember, but the small, invisible routines you repeated unconsciously. Life is woven from the actions a man repeats when he believes no one is watching. Repetition becomes exhausting when it produces no growth. And nature uses dissatisfaction as a signal to show you that you're pushing you forward by making the old year feel too small for the man you are becoming. Many successful men began their new year long before anyone else recognized it. Henry Ford's rise began in lonely hours, refining ideas nobody believed in. Abraham Lincoln's new direction began silently, while others still considered him defeated. Andrew Carnegie's new chapter started in his youth when he chose a definite purpose long before opportunity arrived. The next year of a man's life is shaped in the quiet hours when he sits alone with himself. In those hours, he chooses the thoughts, commitments, and intentions that later appear as visible results, and no man can escape the decisions he makes in solitude. Others begin to recognize a man's rise the moment he changes inwardly. Before success becomes visible in the outer world, it becomes visible in his posture. In the steadiness of his voice, doubted him begin to sense an approaching transformation. There is enormous power in early decision. The man who begins before others gains a visible advantage, moving with clarity while others wait for conditions to improve. And as he continues forward, he gains strength, confidence, and momentum long before his rivals even take their step. You must create within yourself a mental boundary, a clear inner line separating the old year from the new. Without such a line, the mind stays tangled in old patterns. But the moment you cross it, the new year ends regardless of what the calendar says. Speak within yourself affirmations that root you in your new beginning. The subconscious mind accepts repetition as law. And when you declare daily, I release the old year, I choose a new direction, I rise toward a higher purpose, your mind begins reshaping your actions to match those commands. There is a dignity that appears within a man. He decides his next year will not resemble a dignity born not from arrogance, but from resolve. And the people around him can feel that resolve before he even speaks. Decision strengthens a man's spirit, and his spirit strengthens his presence. The new year begins when you declare with total conviction that the old year is over. Not because time ended it, but because you ended it within yourself. And from that decision onward, your life bends toward a new direction. Now let us continue. A man cannot enter a new year while carrying the identity that failed him